pretty quick, but then we had to drive for a few hours to get here. Just woke up from a little nap, trying to get a little bit of rest in before the show tonight. It's about 4 o'clock. We have to leave soon for a sound check, a rehearsal in the venue. So gonna go get ready, put some makeup on, and try to look a little more awake and alive. So our concert tonight is in a church. It's always interesting showing up to a new venue and not knowing how it's gonna sound. But generally, churches are pretty good acoustically. They're not normally super dry, which is nice. And apparently this concert tonight is free admission. So I think they're hoping for a pretty big turnout, which could be fun. And now that we've all played the show at least once, I think we shouldn't need too much time to rehearse with the sound check, but it's always good to test out how the venue feels, play a little bit on the stage, and just get a feel for the acoustic in the space. Because sometimes it's harder to hear than in other places. So it's just really important to test it out a little bit before the actual performance. Not necessarily just for putting together of the music, since we've already done that and we all obviously already know our parts. This is a really quick trip out since we leave again tomorrow morning back to New York. And then we have a few days off from performances until we leave again to Vermont on Thursday. Just got back from the hair salon, got my color touched up. I'm really loving rocking closer to my natural hair color, embracing that. So it feels good to have a fresh blowout, even though it's raining. Yeah, it's a kind of gloomy day here in the city. Got to sleep in a little bit today, which was really nice because I think all the traveling is definitely catching up with me. Yesterday when I got home, I had to do some teaching, so I'm definitely feeling the exhaustion, but it's a good type of exhaustion. Now I'm going to do some planning for a video that I have to film for the Flute Center about some flute accessories. So I'm gonna do that now and then hopefully knock that out and film it. It is so gray and cloudy out today, but I think that the lighting hopefully is going to cooperate. Also the construction upstairs, you can't win. Before I jump into figuring out this video, I thought that I would answer maybe one question that you guys left for me over on my community tab, and there was one that I saw that I was like, oh, that seems maybe relevant to this video, since I did mention teaching and traveling. There's a lot of questions, and I think that I'll probably do like one giant Q&A video if there are more questions by the end of Vlogmas, but I'll answer one right now. Chloe Desher Flute says, would love to hear more about how you balance gigging and teaching. Do you have to move students around a lot, or have you found times for them where that's not as necessary? Any advice for recruiting online/virtual students? So all of my students now are private students. Before the pandemic, I was teaching at a school in Long Island, which was really nice because they would put the schedule together for you. They had all the students there for you. All you had to do was show up and teach. It was all very organized for you. But then during the pandemic, I realized, oh, online teaching is a thing. I think we all did, right? And I realized then that online lessons can be really successful. So I stopped teaching at that school, and now all of my students are private students. And that allows for me to have a lot more flexibility with my schedule. Before, even though it was nice to have all of these students already set up for you, I had to work around more of that inflexible schedule at the school. They actually were very understanding because all of the musicians that taught there were also gigging and playing concerts, so it wasn't really that inconvenient, but it is a lot easier now for me to be only teaching privately in terms of having that flexibility. So yeah, and because the majority of my students are online, it is also just much more flexible because I can teach from wherever I am. And any advice for recruiting online or virtual students? For me, it's come very easily. I haven't had to do much recruiting at all, apart from just showing up online on YouTube, on Instagram. So that is very lucky, I think. I don't think that's the case for everyone, but I would encourage you, if you don't already have a social media presence, to start working on that and to definitely make a website. And when you make that website, make sure that you're using a lot of SEO keywords in there that are going to be what people are searching for, like online lessons, or if you're looking for in-person students, making sure that you mention the town that you're in and using those keywords so that then it becomes more easily searchable. Also, if you're trying to build a studio, making some posts on whatever social media platform you use about teaching, maybe offering a look into what lessons are like in your studio. There's so many different ways that you can be creative and talk about your teaching philosophy or give some tips. Anything that you can do to give people a glimpse into what being a student with you would be like. So I think that could be really useful. And when I was starting to even grow a private studio back in the day, back when I was at school at Juilliard in my master's, I did find luck with some certain websites. I think Thumbtack was one of them, and there might have been another one. Take Lessons, I think, is one of them. But just these places where you can even post that you are offering lesson services. Thumbtack allows for you to do it independently. Like, I don't think, at least back then, they didn't take a cut of what you charged. But I think services like Take Lessons, maybe it's a little bit different. There's also Play with a Pro. So if you're really just starting out, those might be good options too. If you don't already have like an online social media presence, those might be helpful just to even find some students. So yeah, good luck with that. And it's definitely a process. It's not something that just happens overnight, building up your own studio. So be patient and take your time.